My name's Karen McMahon, and I became a certified life coach in 2010. And what led me to life coaching was a very difficult divorce. I had spent 3.5 years in the courts, really struggling, and really it was like a living hell. And yet when I got out the other side, I realized that because I had kept the focus on myself, I was so much healthier and more spiritually grounded. And at the time I was selling printing, and I just sat there and I said, God, there has to be something more important in this world that you have for me than selling ink on paper. And I always encouraged people. So I looked for a school, found iPEC, loved the program. And when it came to picking my niche, it was a no-brainer. I knew that divorce is one of the most difficult transitions, and I wanted to encourage people that it could be a catalyst for incredible personal growth and an opportunity to really create a new life. And so that's how I started. Once I graduated, actually, right after Mod 2, I launched my website, and that's called Journey Beyond Divorce. And in the beginning, I just started reaching out to people. I actually got some discouraging information from certain people saying that there was no money to be made in divorce coaching, and I just chose not to receive that. And I started I started with my divorce attorney and some other people. And the doors just opened, and clients started coming, and I started charging a very little bit in the beginning, and each time I chose to up my rate, I would break out in hives, and it was really uncomfortable. I think it's still uncomfortable. And I knew that I didn't want to, I live on Long Island in New York, and I knew I didn't want to be pigeonholed here. I didn't want to build a business that locked me in here. So I decided that for me, I wanted to build my business on the internet. And so I really sat and thought, what are my skills and talents? And I really like teaching. I like speaking in public. I love to write. And in the printing business, I always worked with marketing people. So I kind of enjoyed the marketing, at least watching it. So let me see if I could do it. And I put that together, and I built a fairly large website, so much so that I started having more leads than I could manage on my own. And the idea of turning them away didn't feel good. And the idea of doing groups was good, but in divorce, you really need a lot of one-on-one. And so I decided to reach out to some iPEC colleagues and see if there was anyone who I thought was an incredible coach, had the iPEC background, and maybe didn't enjoy the business of growing the business so much, but just wanted to coach. So as of 2015, I hired 4 people that work with me, all iPEC graduates, my business partner and another 3 coaches, and we continue to grow. And one of the key things is investing. Every year I invest in the company. So what I mean by investing in my business, in the early days, I took advantage of what iPEC had to offer in terms of the follow-up on building your business. And I think that if you haven't been a business owner, you reach your edge. And so each time I would reach my edge, which is a yoga saying, when I would just know that anything beyond this point, I really don't know what I'm doing, it was time to invest. And so over the course of the last 6 years, I hired a couple of business coaches. I hired just recently, last year, I hired a marketing director, and I decided I would invest money in marketing. And then this year, I found a hybrid program, both marketing and business building, which I'm really excited about, and significant investments. And so one of the things I just want to say about investing in your business is it's not all about I have not always had the outcome that I desired. And so I've taken to the belief that sometimes investing in my business is really just investing in my learning curve. And sometimes investing in my business is investing in the outcome that I desire. And it's all good. And so I tend to tell people that I feel akin to Thomas Edison, which is, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that haven't worked yet. And it's true. I mean, not that I don't get discouraged, but when you're doing this kind of work, you try something. Sometimes it fits, sometimes it doesn't. And for me, again, I try to focus on the things that excite me and enliven me so that I'm having fun when I'm building my business, and I'm having a lot of fun. I would say two things. I would say when it comes to the clients, you always hear how like you really need to understand your client's pain. And I think that having lived the struggle of divorce, I had two young children, and I had a lot of elements in my divorce, which is funny because it seemed so horrible at the time. And now it's like, I get the addict, I get the narcissist, person married to a narcissist, I get the person with young children, I get the single person who's kind of starting out with no money in their pocket. Like there's so many different areas of fear and discomfort, and the more you understand your client, the better you are to be able to speak to their pain and to the solution. And so I think that I and my team do that incredibly well. And I think the second piece is enjoying working on my business as much as I enjoy working in my business. And I think with that is to be bold about our dreams. I want to have one of the largest coaching organizations in the country. I want to have dozens of coaches, like a mini iPEC, where we get together, where we do team retreats, where we create visions together, where everybody is benefiting. Like that's my vision. My vision is huge. I surrender it after I make it, but that's my goal. That's my North Star. And so it's about growing and encouraging coaches. It's about touching tens of thousands of people. One of the things I deeply desire to do is to see certainly the second and third marriage divorce rate go down, but even to lower divorce rates altogether. And I think that we can have an impact in doing that through coaching. So one of the things that I've realized the most is the value of being a sought-after expert. And one of the books that I started with was Michael Port's book, Yourself Solid. It's probably the book I suggest to most people. And I love it because he shows all of the different ways that we can get the word out there. And he has this saying, give it away, give more away. And when you think of giving enough away, give a little bit more away. And I know there's a lot of debate about that. And the truth is what we're sharing in terms of our knowledge and the difficulty our audience is experiencing, that's what I have found, that giving a lot away has been really valuable. So we have over 200 articles on our blog, on the website. And this past year, we started a podcast and a Facebook community. And so all of these people, some of them reach out. It's probably my number one lead generator now is my podcast. People who are interested in one-on-one support reach out, and they've already listened to me and Lisa and Carrie and Sheila and Karen, the entire team. So they've heard us, and they've heard what we have to say, and they've heard how we talk about resistance and acceptance and reactions and all of the other things. And so by the time they call and say, yeah, I'm interested in a complimentary session, they really have a good flavor for what we do and how we do it. And so that has been a real eye-opener for me. And now going into 2017, what I'm going to be doing is taking it to the next level and starting to do more videos, which I know our fearless leader is telling us to do. And I think that there's something really powerful in getting in front of people and being very authentic and very heart-centered. And I really had to work hard on not being commercially. And and sound like I'm speaking to a group, but rather, kind of communicating to one of my clients. And that's been huge. And the people who've reached out have said, I had one woman say, oh my God, I have Karen McMahon on the phone. I've listened to your voice like dozens of times. I've re-listened to all your podcasts. And I thought, what a blessing that I could be touching and helping people that I don't know. And then, of course, trusting that the people who are meant to come to the table and work with me and my team of coaches will do that. And it's been so enjoyable, not just for the growth of the business, but just for the growth of getting the word out there and knowing that what we do is profoundly impacting lives. One of the things I remember in iPEC was just writing, what does your life look like as a life coach? And I remember sitting 6 years ago and thinking, oh, what would my life look like? And, I could get up and I could have my leisurely morning with my prayer and meditation and my cup of coffee and my cats. And I could sit out in my yard during the day if I wanted to, and I could speak to people and coach when I wanted to, and I could be out hobnobbing and networking. And so I feel like I've created the life that I wanted, and I get to enjoy all the different parts of it. And for me, the biggest driver, because we work with a lot of catabolic people at Journey Beyond Divorce. Even the people who generally are anabolic just find themselves thrown on their ear, completely lost their footing. And the concept that when we're brought to our knees, we have the greatest opportunity. And whatever that is, if someone's working as a recovery coach, then it's people who, are just brought to their knees because of their addiction. And in divorce, we're brought to our knees. Our life is changing on every front, financially, socially, the house, the parenting, the whole 9 yards. And I am every day so passionate about helping people to just turn in the other direction and see that, as painful as it is, and it's excruciating sometimes, that there's actually an open door and there's a possibility of taking all of this pain. And for me, my pain became my purpose and my passion. And I really encourage people to find that in themselves. And so that does drive me. And the other thing that drives me is that divorce is just a foundation, because there are so many more people with so many other challenges. And I believe that as a business owner, once I've poured a solid foundation of people knowing me and finding Journey Beyond Divorce, that then my larger name is Journey Beyond Coaching, and it's Journey Beyond. And so whatever people are journeying beyond, I want to build a vertical market and be able to use the Journey Beyond Divorce as a foundation, but then to really start pulling in a lot of different coaches with different areas of expertise, and just using the same model and just building out. Because in my humble opinion, there's so many people who need what we do. And I think there are a lot of coaches who love coaching and don't necessarily love that other part that I do. And those are the people that I'm hoping to attract to my business, where they get to coach and I get to be a visionary and touch thousands, tens of thousands of people. So that really floats my boat. I joke that I'm a recovering perfectionist. And one of the things that I realized early on in my coaching career was, if I waited for my website to be perfect, if I waited to edit my blog enough that it was perfect and covered everything, and on and on and on, that I would never just do it. And so my mantra is, there is no such thing as perfect, just do it. And if you're listening and you're in the early stages, I encourage you, one of the beautiful things about the internet is that you can edit like 5 minutes after you find the mistake. I used to sell commercial printing. You would print a catalog and then you'd find errors in it and you've spent thousands and thousands of dollars. You can't do anything about it. If you're working on the internet, just do it. Post the blog, launch the website, start the podcast. And for me, I've begun to enjoy being less than perfect because I get a lot more done that way. When I first, well, even going into iPEC was a huge push for me because I walked away from my marriage after my divorce. I had really no money. I was a fully commissioned salesperson, and I had 2 school-age children to support, and an ex-husband who called child support an extortion check that I didn't get too often. So it was a challenging time. And I think my biggest fear was not being able to make a living doing this. And there was a lot of fear around that. And in the early stages, there were often times where meeting the bills was not only a bit of a push, but really hard. And one of the things that I realized was when I trust and I have faith and I take leaps of faith, God has my back. And so pushing through that was one of the bigger ones, the financial fear. And then I think along the way, I think in the early stages, I probably saw things that didn't work out as meaning that I wasn't supposed to go in that direction. And that was something that I really had to push through. And, of course, with iPEC, there are no mistakes, there are only opportunities. And that's probably, if I have any other mantra, it's like, where's the opportunity? And that really turned things around for me, because with everything, I began to see what I learned, what I would do differently, how I would stretch myself. And so it's really like learn, leap, integrate, learn, leap, integrate. And that's really been my journey. I would say that if you've gone through the program and you're passionate about coaching, then what you need to decide is how you're passionate about getting the word out there. And if you're in the early stages, one of the things I've seen is coaches waiting to be good enough before they coach. I would say coach anyone, coach everyone, coach often. There is nothing more valuable than getting coaching hours under your belt. And you will find that you walk away encouraged, inspired, and feeling more confident, because if you've been trained by iPEC, you can't help but be a blessing and really help the people that you work with. So just get out there and do it.